Caitlin, go ahead and send that request again.
Hey, Sherry.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hey, Caitlin, please meet Brian.
Hey, Brian, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great, too.
We certainly can. And Caitlin, please meet Donna.
Hey, Donna.
Hi, Caitlin. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
All right, let me give you a proper introduction. It's going to be a little lengthy, you guys, so just bear with me for a minute. Caitlin Arnwine has over 199,000 in live earnings, according to the Hendon Mob. Caitlin's best live cash was over 178,000 for her second place finish in the $2,700 no limit main event at the Potomac Winter Poker Open in 2023. Very impressive Hendon Mob since her first entry was in 2021. We tend to stay away from politics and religion on our X space, but it would be a failure if I did not mention Caitlin's passion for getting people registered to vote and to get them to the polls, something I too am passionate about. So please, folks, get to the polls. Our guest has a podcast called Unsung Unnoticed. She is a pro poker player, a speaker, and an author. Our guest, Caitlin, became homeless at the age of 18, during which time she attended community college to become a paralegal. Caitlin stumbled upon the Maryland Live Casino where she was able to get free coffee and stay warm. The casino should change its name to the Maryland Love Casino because that's where Caitlin met her husband, the love of her life, and where she fell in love with poker. So, to get us started, Caitlin, talk about your start in poker, would you please?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a great introduction.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I started dating Justin after we had known each other for a year already. So, as you said, I used to be inside the casinos. That's where we met because it's open 24/7. So, as a homeless person, that was like really good for me. And then the casino was at the casino at Arundel Mills Mall is right near one of the campuses for Anne Arundel Community College, for which I'd attend school. So it was easy for me then to just walk from the casino to that community college or get on a bus to go to where else I needed to go. And then I also worked in the mall sometimes too. So it was like the area that like I wanted to be. It was a safe area. It was good to be there. So I met Justin, while I was inside the casino. And then we started dating a year later in 2015. And so he always played poker. He was always into poker. Later on, he tried to be like trying to get me to play poker as well. And I just was stubborn. It's just like I didn't see the value in it. I knew that he made all of his money from it, but it wasn't about money for me. It was about like making sure that like you know what I mean? Like really it was like, no, I need to make my own way. I need to be recognized as a function member of society for so many different reasons, for like custody case and all of this other kind of stuff that I thought that I had to do. And then finally my anxiety and PTSD from like living on the street and stuff and depression just got the best of me, and it became best for me to have a job that wasn't so demanding. And so like I would work somewhere and then leave the job because of my mental health. I got my mental health in order and then was like, all right, like let's give poker a try because working a regular job just isn't working for me. And it's not because of lack of effort, because I generally love to work. It's just because I'm in depression, so I don't love to work anymore, and I don't know how to function right now. So I started playing poker in 2021, taking it seriously. And like I was about to leave my job at AT&T that I had. I was there for 6 months, and then when they heard that I was going to leave, they got mad, so they just kind of fired me, which they shouldn't have done. Because instead of just letting me put in my 2 weeks notice. Yeah. I mean, it's the person that was above me, because it was like a little small companies that work with AT&T, the people you see in the back of Targets that like peddle AT&T phones.
Right.
So I was one of those people. And then they gave me a promotion to a different position because they wanted to keep me on board. And on paper, it should have been everything: work from home, sometimes go into the store if I wanted, like I had like control over my schedule and stuff, but still following up with people, having to deal with other people's mistakes on different accounts, and like all this other kind of stuff was causing me a whole lot of stress. So I spent a week figuring out, like, am I really happy like doing this? And then realized that I wasn't. And so tried to put in my 2 weeks notice. They just fired me. I'm just like, whatever, it's fine. Like, I've been saying that I wanted to quit anyways. So I called Justin and told him, I was like, it's fine. I'm just going to go to the casino, where he was at. I was like, early, because I need to get some stuff anyways. I'm about to, get on a bus tonight to go to New York to see my daughter. So, it was just, it didn't even bother me that much because I had already made up my mind that I was leaving.
Right.
It's just like the only thing that really upset me was the way it happened. But the person that was above me was just 20 years old. And so I couldn't really, you know what I mean? She was just being in her emotion. She didn't have the authority to send me home and like tell me the things, like say that, oh, they're still going to pay your day. Like, she was just lying about it all that came out. Then I had to fight them to make sure that I was paid and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't want to have to take y'all to court for like unemployment and stuff. Like, just let's do this the easy way. Just pay me my money and then it's fine. We can be done. Like, that's cool.
So how long after that happened did you play a tournament or get more serious about your poker?
It happened like immediately. So Justin, like literally immediately,
Awesome.
like same day. So Justin and his friends, by extension, had been telling me like, no, let me take you to the casino. Let me put you in a game. Let me play poker. I'm like, no, I'm too busy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I've got too much going on. So the day that happened, I was like, you know what? Fine. Let's give poker a try. And so when I got back from New York, I'm pretty sure that's when he then put me into a satellite. A $50 satellite for the first time. And he walked in and was like, today's the day, he said to like Chris Angelo or Chris McCall, and then was like, and they were like, what? Today's the day? Like, today's the day. Because, I've been sitting behind him now for 7-8 years. And so everybody's like, they know me in the poker room, but I'm like, I don't play poker. And, like some people didn't believe me or whatever. And I'm like, no, I just don't know how to play. Like, you know what I mean? So I'd be going to college, I'm like I almost sitting behind him. I was going to college. I graduated. I started like, the more professional careers and stuff, and sitting behind him the whole time. So everybody's seeing this, but like, I'm still not playing poker, even though I'm behind him. And like, so then I came out from behind him at the poker table, at least.
Now, from that moment in time until you had your big score at the Potomac tournament, how much time was between those two events?
So the Potomac Winter Poker Open at MGM National Harbor happened in February 2023, and I started playing like literally like June, July of 2021.
I love it. Good for you, girl.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's amazing. Now, some of our listeners may know this and some may not. So, you are often seen wearing long dresses or evening gowns or evening wear with a crown when you play poker. Can you tell us how and why you do that, Caitlin?
Yes. So It's funny because I just realized that I only started wearing the crown the day that I got married. So this isn't a Caitlin Cobb persona. This is a Caitlin Arnwine persona that like I was like, oh cool. Like when I realized that, I was like, like, oh, when I officially became an Arnwine, that's when the wearing the crown and stuff started. So like I used to dress up a lot and stuff, like even while I was homeless and stuff, because I didn't want to be judged. Not dress up as much as I do now, not in the kind of outfits I did now. I didn't know how to do it right. And,
Right.
so I used to do what I thought was like dressing up, like what or someone in the early 20s would think was dressing up, you know what I mean? All
Sure.
half shirts and things like that. And then like as I got into depression and stuff, I just didn't want to do that. I just wanted to just wear what was, like big baggy clothes and stuff. When I'd come to the casino with Justin, everybody would look at me and be like, I look young, so they thought that I looked younger than I was. So they were all judgmental. And then it just like, I don't know, there was just, something. And so Justin was like, you know what I mean? Like, start like you used to dress up all the time, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna
Right.
help you, it's gonna help your mental health, it's gonna help you feel better. He actually started like giving me while I was still at AT&T actually, started like just basically giving me a bankroll to go to the mall and buy new clothes. Because I was also like, he was like, yeah, I was like, how did you know I needed new clothes? Like, these all fit so well. The other ones were starting to be too big for me. He's like, yeah, I know. That's probably part of the reason you needed a new wardrobe. That's why I was pushing you to do that. So I was like, okay.
Oh, what a
So yeah.
sweetheart you
And then,
found.
yes. And then when we got married in December 2022, when we got married, we decided to theme the wedding after Napoleon Bonaparte and his wife Josephine, and also Napoleon's coronation. So after their wedding and after the coronation, so we got custom made outfits and and it's available on YouTube, by the way. I mean, anybody can watch our entire like wedding ceremony and everything on YouTube.
Now you know I'm going to do that. You know
Yes,
I'm stalking that wedding video. You know
yes,
I
yes.
am.
You can. The reception, it's all there. Unfortunately, some stuff was missed. He started late. Unfortunately, it was, but like it
Right.
also didn't spoil my day. But it wasn't as live streamed as I would have liked it to been. There's some
Oh,
little moments that were missed, but ultimately most of it is there, like our vows and everything, because we wrote our own vows.
oh, that's
So
awesome. I look
after
forward
that,
to that.
he was like, "You can still wear the tiara for a week." Now, of course, we're newlyweds. We still haven't gone on a honeymoon yet. We're going to. We're just waiting. And so he was like, you can still like he wanted to be around me all the time. So he's like, come to the casino with me. So I had worked at National Coalition for the Homeless for a year. And then when we got engaged, because of like stresses, again, my anxiety, like my mental health and everything, it's like, okay, let's, you know what I mean? Like, and I wasn't doing too well anyways in the position. Like everybody loved me. They would love to still have me on staff. But I just knew I could be doing so much better and that position deserved so much better. So I resigned from that position shortly after we got engaged. And therefore, he's like, okay, so come to the casino with me because I have all this free time now. I'm, and I was like, I was blessed to be able to do that, to be able to have
Right.
that free time.
Right.
And so he's like, you can wear your tiara, you know what I mean? Like, it's fine. Still wear your crown. Like, you just got married. Like, I was like, okay, but I don't want to wear it too much because I don't want people to judge me. I was so afraid that people would judge me. He's like, no, you can still wear it. So him and everybody was like, you can wear it up to a year after. Like, you're a newlywed. You just got married. And
And
then,
how many years later is it now?
um, yeah, now it's over a year later now. Now it's
And
been a
we
year
love
and some
every
change.
minute. Don't ever take
Yes.
that crown off, Caitlin.
Yes. Well, after I got second for 172,044 at the Potomac Winter Poker Open, like Sean McCormick, who's like head of all the poker operations and stuff, he was responding to me like, why do you wear the tiara? So I linked the YouTube video because I didn't know who he was. And then he was just like, you know what I mean? You always need to wear the tiara now. So everybody's like, you always need to wear the crown. So now it's become part of like my brand and like
I
the
love it.
outfits and the crown, everything has just become part of the brand and the
Of
me now.
course. Of course. Now listen, I'm gonna cut away to Brian here so he can get some questions in, and then I want to talk to you about some recent tweets, and then we're gonna pick apart what's going to happen this weekend. But we're going to save that little morsel for after these other few things. So Brian, go ahead, please.
Hey, Caitlin. I want to know what were you going to school for?
So I have my associate's degree in paralegal studies.
Oh, cool. And so do you play any cash games or do you just play tournaments or
I just play tournaments. I really have no interest in playing cash. Like the only reason I'd want to play cash is to learn how to play deep stack more effectively, learn how to better get value, and like these other things that cash game players like, have more experience in, and to know how cash game players think and stuff. But other than that, no, I love tournaments. Things that people don't like about tournaments, I like about tournaments.
it kind of feels like work to me. I don't know about you, but it feels like I'm going to work. It's not as fun like taking your medicine, going and playing cash games. I always play tournaments. So you were saying that you put in your 2 weeks notice and then laid you off, or what happened? I missed that part.
So when I was working with AT&T,
Yeah,
I had spent some time like figuring out if, because it's just like I was starting to get deeper and deeper into depression, which I didn't really know what was happening. And
uh,
like and like because I didn't realize that from being homeless there was so many things that I didn't deal with, so many things I went through, and so many traumas that I didn't deal with, that now that it's like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now when I was in a safe place, my food and shelter and safety and everything were taken care of. Now my mind was starting to like try to deal with all of these other issues and
yeah,
that I had never dealt with before. And so everything was coming to the surface in like weird ways. And so it had gotten like the worst that it's ever gotten, because I've always kind of dealt with like depression and stuff. Not anymore, not right now. I'm really good right now. But but so I was like trying to tell this job that, and they wouldn't let me just work part-time. They
uh,
then gave me a promotion, which should have been great on paper, but like wasn't.
yeah,
Like they wouldn't just fire me, even though they totally should have. And like, they, like I said, they wouldn't just let me work part-time. They obviously still wanted to keep me there, keep me in the company culture and working. And the company culture itself wasn't the best for me either, because they like to party a lot and stuff. And I was trying to get like away from all of that. And
yeah,
so, you want to be included and stuff. And then I was just like, and I was like, okay, so this isn't what I want to do. And everyone's like, no, you can't tell them you're about to put in your 2 weeks notice. Well, I learned the hard way. So I was like, no, it's fine. I'm just going to tell her. And I told her, and she got upset and then acted like she called, our superior, and then came back and was like, you can just leave for the day. We'll still pay you for the day. Like, you can just, like, basically, like, you won't even finish out the 2 weeks. You can just leave. And I was like, okay, they're still going to, okay, all right, if that's it. And then later on, they were like, I don't know what you're talking about with this conversation. And I was like, well, look, she said it, like it's fired. And then I got them to admit via email that I was fired, and that like she did do it unjustly. And I got their superiors on, and I was like, look, like I don't want to file for unemployment. Like, so just pay me the $300. Stop trying to skimp on the money, and like then we're good. So
yeah.
that's what happened there.
It's so unfortunate. Like sometimes, like you said, like she gets mad about it. It's like, what are you talking about? What's there to be mad about, right? Like you're moving on. It's better for you. Like that's your decision. Like just let the person move on. I think it's so important in conversations that people are clear about what they're saying, like that's really messed up if you're walking away with one interpretation of what's being said that's not really being said. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like they get themselves in that position, and you're right. Like the unemployment, not to go off on a tangent here, but like the unemployment, like it very heavily leans in favor of the employee in those situations. You can't just because you put in your 2 weeks notice doesn't mean they didn't fire you. Like that's the
Right.
case. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
interesting.
And there's a lot of law, in between those lines, right? And Brian, I just wanted to say about clear communication, your sound is horrible, bud.
Oh no.
It's
Okay.
horrible. I'm
All right.
sorry to say that after last week was so good, but I thought you might want to know that. Um, Caitlin, I wanted to touch base on some tweets that I saw. And the reason being is I played with you last summer and I was curious myself. So I'm I'm not trying to have a gotcha moment with you, so please don't think I am. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of tweets. Um, One, a gal named Jessica had posted under a recent Poker News article, um, and it was about you, and it said the following: I hope she puts away, I'm sorry, I hope she's putting her little red RTA notes, I'm sorry, her little RTA notes away this time. She uses them in every tournament with bet sizes and the equity percentage. And you clapped back at Jessica with the following, as well as with some pictures of your notebook page and the following words: There's no equity percentages in the notebook. Please don't try to slander. It's also approved at 8 casinos coast to coast and has been thoroughly reviewed by each casino. And here's what a page looks like, since you've clearly never seen it, though I always keep it in plain sight. Can you just tell me, why do you have or use your notebook? And I'm going to post it in the chat.
Yeah, certainly. So, I come from the online world. Like, I started playing online first because I couldn't see the board. So, like that's actually why like you don't even see me really playing any live tournaments until like later on, because I have to start online because I can't really see the board, or all you'll see is small tournaments. You won't see like the amount of tournaments that I've been playing as of late because my glasses didn't allow me to see the board. So I come from the online world. Like, I actually, my claim to fame actually before that was like I got fourth in an online WSOP ring event in 2021. So in like October 2021, like, just yeah, not even like 6 months playing, I got fourth in an online ring event for like 5,500 in WSOP online ring event. And then the reason that like the European players, as all of us call them the Euros, right? The
Right.
reason that they take so long is because they also come from the online world. So all the bet sizing, everything like that is already calculated for you, all of the pot percentages, everything like that. And so when you come to the live realm, you now have to figure out how many blinds you have and all of this other kind of stuff and all this math that you haven't done since like 8th grade, 12th grade, since like your first year of college. And so I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, what if I arrange but I've also, sitting behind Justin, have heard everybody complain. This is before I even knew about Euros. Everybody complain about people who slow down the game. Nobody likes the game being slowed down. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't want people to not like me because I slow down the game. I don't want people to talk about me. So I started to arrange my chips in bet sizes, like, whatever the, 3x, 2x would be. But then the dealers would get upset and they're like, you can't arrange your chips like that. And I'm like, okay, well, what else can I do? And I'm like, okay, well, I can't open up my calculator and look at my phone like during a hand, right? But what about a notebook? I could have a notebook during a hand because it's a static thing. It's not my phone. I was like, cool. So I went to Five Below, got myself a notebook, came back and wrote down like what the bet sizes would be. Like, 100, a min raise is 200. You know what I mean? Now, 3x is 300. And yeah, that's simple. But then, and I was like, and then I had to try to figure out like, oh, what about when I bet? Now that's going to be an issue. And I remember just sitting during poker games trying to figure out what my bet sizing would be. And I guess subconsciously, I remember Justin used to always double his bet amounts. So I'm like, okay, that's what I'll do. But I don't really know what 4,800 times 2 is. And it's going to slow down the game if I have to think about how to calculate it. So I would just write, like, in the notebook, you can see it's like 4,800, then 9,600, then whenever 9,600 times 2 is. So that's really all the notebook is, and every single page just has those those bet sizings, those basic bet sizings, so that way I don't, like, during a hand, I can easily consult it and not slow down the game.
Well, and I appreciate you answering the question. And I'm going to dive into the, you know, there's several reasons why I asked the question. Of course, seeing it here this in the last few days on Twitter. But last summer, you and I played at the ladies' event together at the WSOP, and we were at the same table. And you did have your notebook out. And I try to be very observant at the table when I'm playing, even when I'm not in a hand. And so there were several times when I wasn't in a hand. I'm not saying that there were lots of times, but there were several times that I wasn't even in the hand, but I was observing the table that, and you were in hands and you were referring to your notebook. And I thought to myself, wait, there was this big discussion right before the WSOP started about people being able to use solvers or whatever at the table. And so I thought, oh, what has she got in that notebook that she's referring to during a hand, right? And I'm going to be honest with you. I actually had a friend of mine walk behind you to try to see what was in your notebook. And I did that because, quite honestly, I don't like a cheater at the table, plain and simple. But before I accuse somebody, I want to know if they are or not. And you know what? My friend walked past you, couldn't see the notebook. I didn't think another thing about it after that day. And when I saw these tweets this week, and I saw your notebook, I was like, wow, I understand that because there are lots of people in life, and my children are part of that, are part of that equation that sometimes need a little extra help, a little crutch, right? And I was like, okay, I get it. Well, I just coincidentally, somebody DM'd me about it. And of course, I didn't like give the history or anything as far as I was concerned, but I asked them their opinion, and they happened to be a industry person. And they said to me, she is more than welcome to use that notebook as long as she doesn't look at it during the hand because that would not be right. And of course, it is what it is. But I want your opinion, hearing it from me, one of your opponents. Do you see how that can be construed as not something that should be happening?
I mean, you can, throughout the entire notebook and the pages, there is no ace, king, queen, or anything. There's no hands. There's no equity percentages. None of that is in the notebook. The notebook is just what's there. I
And
always
I'm going
keep
to
a
tell you,
notebook.
Caitlin, I believe what you're saying to me. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
please don't think I don't. I
No,
believe you.
I always keep the notebook in plain view. In fact, you wouldn't even have had to have your friend go behind me. If you had asked, I would have just passed the notebook to you. I pass the notebook to anybody who brings it up. And even if they're like, no, I'm like, no, here, go ahead and look at it. Like, I always leave the notebook out when I go to the bathroom so that if anybody's not comfortable just asking me at the table, they can try to sneak a peek. I say that in, quotations because, like, I leave it out purposefully with that intention, knowing that somebody's going to look at the notebook, and that's fine by me because I have nothing to hide. I refer to it during hands because that's when it's needed. That's when I need to try to figure out what is the double of 9,600, like during a hand. And in every casino that it's approved in, it's also approved for me to look at during hands. And I won't go back to a casino that won't approve the notebook. And that's not because I necessarily need it. Like I said, I've even had to remind myself, like, I use it to not slow down the game. If you want me to take 5 minutes during a hand, I will do that. In the future now, I'm like, okay, if you know what I mean? Like people play the bubble at poker games too. People play the
Right?
bubble. That's creating an extra
Absolutely.
spot. People chop at the
100%.
final table. None of that is You talk about like real-time assistance and stuff, and this is not pre-solved. Do you think I have all the scenarios of like what a hand is pre-solved and written down in a notebook? That
Yeah,
would be
no,
mighty
no,
impressive.
absolutely not.
People would
Uh,
be like, she's taking notes. I'm like, I need a pen to take notes. Like, if you ever see me writing in the notebook, I'm usually copying pages from another notebook because I'm now moving to the smaller one because the other one's falling apart. But it's
well,
all the same information and it's been thoroughly reviewed by casinos. But like, there's so many things that poker players do that don't adhere to it. And the reason I won't go back to another casino that won't allow it, like Borgata, where I still got 10th in the women's event, even after they wouldn't allow the notebook last year, I I like it's mainly because to me that's not a beginner friendly casino because there's so many people that, and this is allowed, that will have next to them that are super beginners that don't even know what hand beats what. They'll have next to them like the hand rakings and stuff. And there's other women that have told me when they started out they have a notebook. And there's other people that have said like, oh my gosh, it would be so helpful for me to have a notebook. And not like this, not I mean like my notebook though. Not something that tells you ace, king, queen. You know what I mean? Like
right,
what hand, you know what I mean? Not
right.
anything pre-solved, just that little bit of extra help. And it's like and I don't know why people are such in a hurry for me to get off the notebook. I'm only going to be more lethal without the notebook.
Well, and I appreciate you being so honest about it, Caitlin.
Of course.
Honestly, I had forgotten about it after I finished that tournament. I'm going to be honest with you. Didn't think another thing about it until I saw these tweets this last week or so, or whatever it was. And I was like, oh, so I'm not the only one that's noticed it. So I just
No,
wanted to
it gets
hear it
it
right from you. And I think you bring up some good, valid points about it. Brian, did you have any comments?
I don't know how my phone is, but I do want to say, at first I was like, where are you going with this? This sounds all kinds of controversy. But I'm looking at this notebook. That's, to me, I don't know anybody else's. It's silly. Let her have this. This isn't RTA or something like that where she's. I mean, she doesn't even have any cards in this thing. It's helping her with her calculator. I don't know. Like it's not. This is a nothing.
Well, and the reason why I brought it up is because I want her to have a stage to say her piece about it, because I think that's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
important.
exactly.
So,
No, I got it halfway. At first, I was like, "What is in this notebook?" Oh,
well,
that's
and
great.
that's too why I posted it, right? So, I'm going to move on because I think she answered the questions and I think she gave us some good food for thought. And Caitlin, I appreciate that you did because I think it's important to have that dialogue um, for everybody's sake. And hopefully, it'll be food for thought for those that are making decisions. Um, and maybe they can incorporate some things for the new beginner players, maybe some cards that the casino actually hands out themselves with the hands or whatever on it. So, anyway,
yeah.
good food for thought. I appreciate you. Now, I want to get on to the big party that's happening this weekend. Oh, wait, poker tournament. Sorry, poker tournament. Uh, First, I want to thank you for again for inviting me to be on the speaker panel this weekend, and I'm heartbroken that I can't be there tomorrow, but hopefully we'll do something together in the future. Um, so, can you talk about tomorrow? You're hosting at the Horseshoe, Baltimore, the Ladies Legend Tournament. We're going to kind of dissect it. So, first, let's start with the starting time, the buy in, and the guarantee, please.
Okay. So, yes, this is the Horseshoe Baltimore's women's event, the Ladies Legends Tournament, and I'm just helping promote it and host it. And that's an important distinction for me because it's like Horseshoe Baltimore Casino really cares about women's events and they're not afraid to say and promote women and women's events and have it like be their own thing. So and they're setting precedent in other ways too. For example, it's a $5,000 guarantee. The buy-in is $2,000. However, if you are a woman, the buy-in is discounted to $200. It is a 10x buy-in for men, just like it is in Vegas. So the driver's license must state female in order to get that discount from $2,000 to $200. So all women, it is a $200 buy-in. And if you're a guy, it's the asshole tax. It's a $2,000 buy-in.
And we're going to be respectful, and we're not going to attend, gentlemen. We're going to respect the female space and the ladies tournament space and not attend. Thank you. Go ahead, Caitlin.
Yes, and so I have a panel beforehand in honor of Women's History Month. It's the Women in Poker panel. It starts at 11 a.m. It is going to be live streamed to youtube.com/Botsy, which is my YouTube channel that I have with Justin. It's also going to feature an ASL interpreter, so I'm super excited about that. So which is part of the reason it's also being live streamed, because there is going to be an ASL interpreter there as well, because, the Maryland and the surrounding areas and all over, there's a huge community of women poker players who are deaf. And then the tournament cards are in the air at 12:15 p.m. So the panel is only an hour, which gives you a 15-minute break. And
Okay, I'm going to stop you
yes.
for a minute. I want you to tell us the three ladies that are on the panel.
Yes, of course. So you have Holly Berry Fallstone. She's an advocate for equality for deaf women in poker. You have J. Avery Theodore Daisy, who's a member of the LGBTQIA community. And then you have a buy-in giveaway winner whose buy-in was actually donated by a guy. He reached out to me after listening to the Think and Poker podcast, my appearance on it on February 26th, and offered a buy-in. So this is going to be her first time playing a women's event. And she is so excited that she even when she saw the buy-in giveaways, she prearranged with her mother to babysit that day so that if she won, she could come play. So I'm super excited to have all of these different perspectives on the panel.
Love it. It's going to be a great panel and a breakfast panel discussion. And you mentioned somebody won a free buy-in, and I know one of our favorite listeners here in the space, Daisy, won a buy-in to the tournament.
Yes, she did. So there was 3 buy-in giveaway winners. So the first buy-in was donated by Drew Gonzalez, also known as Bet on Drew on Twitter, and on Twitch. And then Hannah Jolie as well. They donated a buy-in, and Mary Bell from one of the Facebook groups, the Poker League of Nations Facebook group, she won that one because I just spun a wheel and did it randomly, because as poker players, we have to be comfortable with randomness and variance. So that seemed like the best way to do it.
Love it.
And then also, like you said, Daisy, she won a giveaway by Craig Savage of Team 100K Poker. He also did a giveaway. And then Dr. Dad Poker, that's what he goes by, Dan Schill, that's what he goes by on Twitter and on Twitch. He donated a buy-in that Heidi won, because I really wanted to give a buy-in to someone, and like Heidi's she applied for all 3, like for the first 2 giveaways. And for the second one, I was like, I have just the person. And so
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now there's other things I'm going to bring up, and I want you to explain them a little bit more. I read that the first 9 women that are knocked out are going to receive something from Jim at Rec Poker. Please tell us.
Yeah, so we have things for the final table. There's going to be a trophy from the Women's Poker Association because they're uplifting this tournament, and there's going to be final table swag. But what about the first 9 women that bust out? Well, I have something for them too. So I was on the Table Talk podcast recently, and me and Jim were talking afterwards, and he's like, oh, I want to donate free Rec Poker premium subscriptions. And I said, one thing I've been thinking about is, what about the first 9 women that bust out? And he said, I've been thinking of that same exact thing. Let's do it. So he surprised me in that they're 3-month Rec Poker premium subscriptions. So for the first 9 women, yes. And also during the panel, the Run Good Poker Series and Rachel K. Winter are providing breakfast, and the casino is providing the coffee specifically for the event, which I think is really cool.
Very cool. Okay, now there's going to be 5 bubbles that receive something from Sasha Aline Sutton. Please tell us about that.
Yes, so I've been following Sasha. She goes by Poker for Girls. She has a training site, and I had reached out to her and was talking with her to actually be one of the panelists. And she was like, I'm not going to be able to be on the panel, but here, how about I do this? And originally it was supposed to be only like 1 or then 3. And I was like, I really want to do something for the women that bubble. She's like, I love that. And so now she's upped it to 5. So the 5 women who are knocked out right before in the money, they're going to receive a 1-hour training session on mindset and performance. So I think that's also particularly good because it's like, when you bubble, it is a big mindset thing. Even though there's going to be giveaways for every single woman that attends, everybody will get a free ebook donated by Tommy Angelo, just like every single woman that entered into one of the giveaways received a free ebook by Tommy Angelo as well. Like, it's still nice to have something extra special for the people that bust right before the money, because even though, except at women's events, I don't pay the bubble, I understand it's important. You know what I mean? That it sucks to
makes it
bubble.
more fun, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. Now tell us about the one-on-one coaching giveaway from A Game Agency.
Yes. So again, Melanie Moser, I saw that she's a poker player, and then I love marketing, if this isn't evident. But she has her own marketing agency, and she approaches it from the perspective of like 4 poker players, and being a poker player herself, and really how to like market your skills and stuff. And if you listen to Justin and his cousin's podcast that I produced, the Unsung Unnoticed podcast, the episode just aired, one of the things they even talk about is like, well, if you want to get noticed more, and this is something I tell Justin too, you gotta be out there. People think I win every single tournament in Maryland. I don't. I just post about my wins and my final tables and my in the money. So it looks like I'm doing more, even though someone else can be doing a lot more than I. So for one woman who's attendee who is interested in it, learning more about marketing the poker skills, they'll receive a giveaway of a free one-on-one coaching session. So I'll have like a second separate giveaway pool, because not everybody's going to be interested in, how to market themselves, but if they are, they'll have that opportunity.
Well, that's very nice of Melanie Moser for doing that for the ladies. I know that you're doing a big book giveaway, and you have several authors who have donated books. And some of our former guests here in our X space, Amanda Botfield donated A Girl's Guide to Poker, and Dara O'Kearney and Barry Carter's Beyond GTO book has been donated as well. So do you want to talk about all the other authors? I don't know if you have the list in front of you. If not,
I do. I did. I pulled up the list.
Go ahead, honey. And tell us how you're going to give those items away.
Yes. So Horseshoe Baltimore. So my main man who I started this with, Mario T, he has now left Horseshoe Baltimore, but in his place is Arturo. And Arturo has been amazing to work with, so great, so comforting, as well as like all of the floor supervisors. And so when I first met Arturo, he was like, oh, those spinning things where like you use it in lotteries and things like that, and you spin to like pull the names out, because I was just going to use a bowl. He said, we have one of those, we'll bring it up for you. So they're going to bring up one of those, so the giveaways are going to be extra special and truly nicely randomized, rather than just like shuffling them up in a bowl, where I can like spin the wheel of everyone's like name in there and pull out the names of people who will win the books. So the giveaways, of course, like will start during the panel, or like right after the panel, and then during breaks we'll also be doing the giveaways as well. We have Alex O'Brien, who wrote The Truth Detective, which was the only book nominated for the GPI award. And so you also, like you said, have Amanda Botfield, A Girl's Guide to Poker, Maria Konakova's book, The Biggest Bluff, which is it's a New York Times bestseller, and it's the first poker book I ever read. And it really the money is not what motivates me in poker. What motivates me in poker is learning how to apply it to life. And so that book just put so many things into perspective. I cannot recommend it enough. Ellen Lykind is also donating books as well. She's donating her books, The Poker Woman, which, by the way, you can get on Kindle right now, the Kindle version, for only like $2.99 in honor of Women's History Month. So make sure you can go get that. Dara O'Kearney, like you said, They have their book, Beyond GTO. They've actually sent me a couple books, but this is one of the books that will be given away. Andrew Brokos, he has personally handed me his books. We met this week, his play Optimal Poker. And Matt Matras as well has donated his most recent book that was released in December, 23 No Limit Hold'em Tournament Hands from 2023. So he's donated those as well. So each of the books, there's like 2-3 copies, 2+ copies of each book that will be given away during it. All the giveaways are going to be videoed. So watch my Twitter because I'll be posting all on Twitter and stuff the day of, and on Facebook. Yes.
I have
All the
FOMO
giveaways.
already, Caitlin. Those pictures are going to make me more miserable, but I can't wait to see them.
Yes, thank you. So I'm really excited. So it's funny because I didn't plan any of this. Like I couldn't have possibly planned to reach out to like 20 people and you know what I mean, and try to coordinate these giveaways. And instead I was like, does anyone have books? I tagged a bunch of authors that I knew. I will buy 2 of the books in order to give away.
You, the
and
poker
instead they donated it.
The poker community is very giving and gracious, and I've been fortunate enough for over the last few years, anytime I've been involved with stuff, whether I'm hosting it or someone else is hosting it, that if you put the word out, people will help you and donate and support you, send you things. And it's amazing and it's wonderful. And it is also a tribute to you, Caitlin, that people support you and what you're doing and taking the time to make sure this event is going to be amazing for the ladies tomorrow. And congratulations to you because I know it will be.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that I was able to do this. Like, also, Drew Gonzalez and Hannah Jolie also donated an additional $100 to help me cover expenses when they saw I was covering all the expenses because I'm giving free snacks throughout the tournament. Because when I hosted one last time, that was a thing right before dinner break, like an hour beforehand. It was still like people were hungry, and so I just went to the vending machines and got snacks for everybody. So this time I'm just building that in with free snacks throughout the tournament, and I couldn't get a dinner break this time. However, there will be a food runner there as well, and also some free swag, not only from the Women's Poker Association, but also from the casino itself. They have a box of about 20 items that they're also going to be putting in for giveaways. Yes, they have been great to work with. They not only set the precedent for the first time for the 10x buy-in in Maryland and weren't afraid to do so, but then they're doing all of this extra stuff as well just to make it special. And they've been so great to work with. I'm like, Run Good is like, hey, you can do this. And Rachel K. Winter. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, is it going to be possible to bring in donuts and breakfast and coffee? It's been donated, and they're like, yeah, it's fine. Just go here and you get this special badge. And then, you can bring it in. That's cool. And I was like, don't worry. We'll take care of the coffee. And I'm like, oh, nice.
Very nice indeed. All right, I'm going to see if Donna has any questions or comments.
Yeah, I know how difficult it is to actually start something like this. How long ago did you have this idea of doing what you're doing? And I think it's absolutely amazing, and the things that you've got are superb. So keep up the fantastic work.
Thank you so much. So I knew after holding an event last year that I wanted to do another one, and it just kept getting pushed back last year. And so me and the previous poker room director had, been meeting, and I'm like, we're planning something in November, then that fell through. We wanted to wait till after the holidays, then in February, and that fell through. And then we're like, okay, I was like, in March, but I want to hold a panel beforehand. And he was like, all right. I was like, cool. And so then, so that's how that happened. But I know a lot of people in the poker world might be surprised, and they're like, oh my gosh, she seems to have so many skills for it, because I've heard that. And it's because I come from the nonprofit world. So I have organizing experience, and also in the for-profit world. Even when I was homeless, I was working usually like 2 to 3 jobs all the time, 7 days a week. And so I was when I was a personal assistant to the CEO and founder of LaFontaine Blue and Blues Bistro here in Maryland. And that's like a wedding venue. And so I was helping to plan events there. And then definitely my 4 years being social media director and executive assistant of the Transformative Justice Coalition. And even when I was on the board and also worked as a coordinator of public education for the National Coalition for the Homeless, which basically meant I just managed their speakers bureau. There also, so I have an extensive amount of experience planning events since even when I was homeless, but then especially from 2016 on, I've been involved with planning and organizing a whole lot of events and wearing all of the hats. And so now to be able to bring this into the poker world, it's just great. And I'm just so grateful to the poker community as well. That is really, you even got people of rival casinos tweeting out the flyer being like, I know this is a rival casino, but like, everybody in Virginia should go attend this because it's just more important than that. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I love it. And it's interesting you brought up working for the nonprofits because I have a lot of that experience as well. And it definitely helps when you're planning stuff because when you're with a nonprofit, you have no budget. So you're always looking for help, right?
Yes.
And figuring out a way to get it done. Donna, did you have any other questions or comments?
No, thank you for answering that, Caitlin. And I'm sure this is going to be a huge success, and congratulations, and look forward to many more. Hopefully one year I'll be able to make it myself.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Donna.
ASG, welcome to the panel. Please meet Caitlin.
Hi. Two questions. One, just because it's my local casino, I don't know how long ago your experience was with Borgata, but they've been, bought out by MGM, and Poker Bay Boss, I think, is fairly new as the poker director. So I was wondering if you've reached out to them to see if anything can maybe change now that they're under like new ownership.
So here's the funny thing. So around in January, around New Year's, like somebody tweeted out and tagged me and said, "What are your poker goals for the year?" And so I said what my poker goals were. And then the poker boss actually reached out to me. She DM'd me and said, "Why nothing at Borgata?" And I assume that she's just gotten really busy, or I sent like a lot of messages to try to thoroughly explain the situation. But I did break down that it was because my notebook isn't allowed there. And if my notebook was allowed there, even when I get off the notebook, like I'm still not going to go back there because my notebook isn't allowed there. And like I said, to me, that's just like not really beginner friendly. But she herself has actually reached out. So once, but it was like right before like their series and stuff like that. So I understand, you know what I mean? Maybe she hasn't seen the messages or anything like that back. But I did think that it was, it did be like, oh wow, she reached out to me personally. That did definitely be like, like make me better, like try to rethink it a little bit, but I still need that official approval that my notebook is going to be approved.
Yeah, and I've reached out even to Sean McCormick now that MGM's involved, and gotten good feedback with him. But anyway, and then I just was curious regarding your notebook, what the I assume FTR is flop turn river, like what those numbers like mean.
Yeah, so FTR is flop turn river. And then the number, so you see it says 20 bigs in the one thing equals, and you can even see like when it says like 2x, obviously that's a min raise. The only reason the little m is there is because I constantly would forget that it was a min raise, even though it should be like valid. So I just see somebody raise to like 1600 and been like, oh my gosh, that's so big, forgetting that like the blind is 800. So therefore that's just a min raise. And then like 3x, is obviously like 3x. When it says 5, that means 5x. And when it says 5x and has a little 2 there, and you actually get an exclusive information, Sherry, because I've actually never I mean, people just look at it and they don't try to ask questions further. They're just like, this looks like algebra. But like I said, I'm open about it. You kind of have to be if you want it to be accepted and approved, right? So then the 5 is there. It's just like, 5 times 2 X. So it's like, okay, so 2X of 800 would be like 1600. Well, what's 5 times 1600? So that way, if somebody, again, it's all about moving the game quickly. And so it's just going to, like, okay, don't have the notebook. That's fine. I'm going to finish playing. I'm going to take a little walk so I don't tilt. I'm gonna finish playing the tournament, and then I'm not gonna come back to your casino. But like at the same time, it's gonna slow the game down as well because now I have to figure out they just made it 2x. I want a 5. I want a 6x. What is that going to be? So now I have to figure that out in my head. Now I have to do like twice the math problem basically in my head. That should be easy, and it's coming to me now. I'm starting to use the notebook less and less and less, but like it's so it's definitely going to come to a point, but still when casinos don't accept it, to me it just says like they're not that beginner friendly at the same time, and especially depending on like the way that they'll not accept it as well. Like if you thoroughly review it, and you still have a problem with it, it's like okay, but if like they did at the win, if you're just like no, it's not approved and I'm not even going to look at it because somebody complained because you are winning, which is the only time people complain, then it's like okay, no.
Okay, and then finally, you were talking about being helpful to be. Is there anything you think that could be on like the tournament screen that we take for granted that would be helpful for like beginners or whatever?
That's all your questions have been good. That's also a really good question. Um, I don't know, because I feel like if you put all of the information that's in my notebook on a tournament screen, it would be quite distracting to people and not everybody think about it in terms of like I do. I think of everything still in terms of blinds because I don't know how to count the pot size. I'm not that far advanced yet. I know that I won 6 figures and I'm still not that far advanced. People forget I am still a beginner. Which is why I focus so much on beginner players. But I think I think the information on screens is really helpful in itself that it has now. And so I haven't thought about or asked around because I learned from in the nonprofit world when you go into community, you can't just go in there and pretend that you know everything. You have to ask the community what they need. And so since I am part of the poker community, but I'm not really, I always like cuz I'm still new to it. I still like to go to the people who have been playing the game for 15 plus years or the people who just started playing the game or you know what I mean, like all the other communities and ask like, what do you think? And so maybe after I do that, I'd have a better answer because I believe it's okay to say if you're ignorant, unaware of something, and if you don't know. And I honestly don't know because I haven't thought about it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, ASG. I need to do a little bit of house cleaning. Caitlin, bear with me for a minute. First, I want to thank our sponsor, Elevated Results. If you need to lose weight or gain weight, reach out to our sponsor, Elevated Results, for help with those two different, very different things that you may need in your life or someone you know. Did that make sense? Elevated Results. Thank you. We appreciate you. I also asked Brian to celebrate a woman in his life. So please, Brian, tell us.
Well, there's nobody, better than my wife. I mean, she's amazing. Like, I think I was telling you earlier this week about a conversation that I had, Sherry,
Yep.
uh, with my uncle when I was in college and I met Melanie, and my uncle's like, "You're an idiot. What are you doing? What are you waiting for? Go ask her to marry you. You are never finding a girl like that. Like, you've way outkicked your punt coverage. Don't miss out. She just is amazing and takes care of everything, running the kids everywhere. And well, we don't have any kids anymore. They're all 18 actually. So yeah, but
Well,
she's just amazing.
and we are here to celebrate her. And I'm glad you chose her because I know she's very supportive of you and your poker and even this crazy thing we call spaces. So, Caitlin, I like to do something called rapid fire. Are you familiar?
No, I'm not, but I'm totally game.
All right. I'm going to give you two options. You have to pick one. And if you absolutely have to, you can pass.
Okay.
So, live poker or online?
Oh gosh, that is complicated, but probably live.
Okay. Limit or no limit?
No limit.
Granny panties or thong?
Dong.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Pizza or burgers?
Pizza.
Thank you for playing. Appreciate you. I would like to tell our listeners, if you'd like to come up and ask Caitlin a question or give comments, please press the request button in the bottom left. Caitlin, we typically try to go about an hour or so, and I am going to celebrate two women in my life or have been important figures in my life. So I am going to start with my mom, Clementine.
You got
Hopefully,
this, Will. You got this.
who was wise beyond her years. Mm,
And she were a bugger when it comes to slots.
she sure was. Whose passion for all people was evident with every homeless person she fed, with every woman she taught to drive against her husband's demands, and every kid she took in after their parents booted them out. Thank you, Mom.
So sweet.
The second would be Amelia Earhart, who I learned about in elementary school on the south side of Chicago because the school was actually named after her. She taught me to stand on my own 2 feet and do what I believe in and dream about. So, those two women I celebrate this month with you, Caitlin.
Wow. Your mom sounds like she was an amazing person.
She indeed was. And I'm a little emotional because we just had my daughter's baby shower on Saturday.
Mm,
And my daughter is actually using my mom's name as the middle name for JC Clementine. So
that's so sweet. It's
just just a little emotional. Sorry,
when
you
when
guys.
when Justin and I have a kid, we're actually going to name the child after his grandmother. So the middle name is actually going to be his grandmother's name. So we completely understand that. It's a way to honor them, in a way to like kind of bring them back. You know what I mean? It doesn't really bring them back, but you know what I mean, like
It
in
is
spirit.
absolutely a great honor. And what will your child's middle name be if you're willing to share it at this point? And if not,
Yeah,
it's okay.
no, the entire name, the first name will be Amani, which means faith. Next name, well, middle name will be Vera, which is the
Oh,
grandmother's name.
I had an Aunt Vera. I love that.
Yes. And so yeah, so we decided on the name Amani a while ago. Like
I
so
love
and then
that.
it was the middle name that we didn't have, and then when she passed, we decided that that would be the middle name.
I love that so much. Well, Caitlin, it has been a pleasure. Software, do you have any more questions or comments for Caitlin?
No, I don't. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, Caitlin. Thanks, Donna, ASG, and Wolfie, and Doinky, and everybody else down there.
We appreciate everybody listening and joining us. And as always, Caitlin, it's always a pleasure to chat with you. And I look forward to doing more of it in the future. Good luck tomorrow with this event and on the felt always.
Thank you so much. You as well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And thank you, listeners, and those that'll listen to the replay in the upcoming days. We appreciate you. Good luck on the felt, everyone. Good night.
Okay.